Today I will discuss a new topic in our information security tutorials, which is a very quick and simple introduction to information security and penetration testing. I will tell you what is information security and what are the most important elements and principles of information security and what are the measures that you should apply to ensure the security of your information. And then I will tell you what is penetration testing and what are the 5 stages for any penetration test. So let's start. First, what is information security? Information security refers to all processes and methodologies that any cybersecurity or information security experts implement to protect your data. And when we are talking about protecting your data, I mean in that protecting printed data like that were found in PDF files or Word documents or Excel sheets or etc. Or the electronic data or information that is found on a website or may be sent via email, message, and so on, or any other form of information, and protecting it to keep it confidential, so only the authorized user can access and use this data, and make it private to only be available to the private people who can access and use it, and not to be available to public users. For example, in any organization might have some competitors. Knowing about the system and tools that we are using in this organization for competitors might affect my business. So information security can help you secure your data and make it private and sensitive information from stealing, and prevent any data unauthorized access or use or misuse. Also, we are concerned in information security to keep data protected from disclosure. To if any secret information or sensitive information is secret, prevent it to be known to everybody, and prevent also from distraction to wipe, for example, your data, or infecting it with any kind of malware that may cause to destruction, destroying it completely, or any disruption, changing its format, for example, or any modification, adding or editing or deleting any piece of information of this information in this organization. Also, we are talking about protecting information include in both states, if it is being stored in servers or in hard disk and computer system or and so on, or when it is being transmitted from one machine to another or from physical location to another. This is very important to all organizations and everybody to care about information security, because it is very important now, because cyber attacks are very common nowadays, and you should know how to defend against these attacks and to keep your information secure. Some books and courses refer to information security as data security. It is the same science, and but some people prefer to refer to information as data security to include all kinds of data. But data security and information security are almost the same field. Then we will talk about information security principles and what are the most elements that comes to your mind when you think of information security, and what are the most important principles of information security. There are 3 most important security principles, which are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I will discuss each one quickly as much as I can to understand what is meant by confidentiality and integrity and availability. So confidentiality, the data is confidential only when those people who are authorized to access this data can do so. And to ensure confidentiality, we can use different techniques to protect our data and make it secure and confidential by using, for example, authentication, for example, by providing valid credentials, login, username and passwords, and these valid credentials are validated by the server to prevent any unauthorized access to these data. And also we can use strong passwords, and your password should be complex as much as you can by creating a strong password that must be hard to guess by using the combination of uppercase letters, lowercase letters, and numbers and symbols. Also, we can use a very powerful technique to secure our data, which is encryption, which have different types of techniques that can encrypt the data, and only the authorized and only the people who have your encryption key can decrypt your data and access and read the message sent by you. This can help to defense against penetration attacks, different penetration attacks, that all techniques designed to ensure confidentiality. Also, the second element that comes to your mind when we are talking about information security and information security principles is integrity, which means maintaining data in its correct state and preventing it from being improperly modified. And this modification might be by mistake, by accident, so by one of your employees, or maliciously by an attacker trying to penetrate your organization and steal your sensitive information. Maintaining data is is that it in its correct state. For example, if you are trying to download an antivirus, some websites put what's meant by checksum number with to this downloaded file, which you must compare this checksum before downloading this file and after downloading it to identify any modification or any change in this file, and to ensure that if any difference between these two checksums were found, this means that the integrity of this file is not maintained and it might be a malicious file. Many of techniques that are ensured confidentiality might also protect your data integrity, and because logically no one can change data that he can't access. But there are other tools that can provide defense of integrity. For example, checksums, as I told you earlier, to verify data integrity. The third element, which is availability, and it is the mirror image of confidentiality, where you need to make sure that only authorized people can access these data, and also by matching your network infrastructure and computer resourcing strong processor and RAM and good network infrastructure to match with the volume of data access you expect to. This will be maintained to your data availability, makes it available 24 hours, 7 days, and prevent and defend you against a very common attack nowadays, which is denial of service attack, making your server down because of the huge number of requests that was sent to it, and it can't handle this request. And there are another techniques that can ensure your availability of your data, like good backup policy or disaster recovery. If any organization might have what is meant by disaster recovery sites, who have two sites, different sites in different countries or different locations. If any disaster, natural disaster like fires or earthquake or something like this, or fires or something like this, happened to the data center, one of the data centers, we still have another site that serves the same services and have the same information, and we can still have our data available although of this disaster. Also, having a backup policy maintain your data security and making the data available all the time. Now we will move to another point, which is information security measures that should be applied to ensure your information security. The first measure that you should apply is the technical measures, which include the hardware or software that protects your data, for example, using encryption or firewalls that filter the traffic and protect you against any malicious traffic that might cause your security breaches or any data or information disclosures. The second one, which is organizational measures that include the creation of internal unit dedicated for information security. You should hire good security experts that can handle any issues related to information security, train your users and employees about information security and cyber attacks to ensure that your information are secure. The third one is the human measures, which is the most important one in my opinion, including providing awareness and training for your users on proper information security practices, telling and training your employee about cyber attacks and something like the phishing. For example, someone call them and pretend that he is a member of the top management of the organization, and they are on updating your information, and asks them for some sensitive information that might cause large or big problems for them if they told them about this sensitive information. So the awareness and training for users on proper information security practices and cyber attacks will be a good step in securing your data. The fourth one is physical measures, including controlling access to office locations, especially for data centers. Or organizations should control the access to the data centers where all the servers are found, and to control who is accessing the data centers when they access these data centers and server rooms, to ensure if any attacks happen, who was the root cause for this attack, and can control and secure your servers easily. Now we will talk about penetration testing and what is penetration testing. Some people refers to penetration testing as pen test, which is a simulated cyber attacks against your computer system, your network, your mobile device, or your application, to detect any exploitable vulnerabilities, any weakness in your configuration or your system, to try to help you fix these vulnerabilities and protect your information. For example, in web application security, there is a firewall, as we mentioned before, about the measures that should be applied to protect your data and keep it secure. We use web application security, performing penetration testing for your system or your network will tell you about the strengthening and the points that you need to modify and change in your firewall configuration. Penetration testing for sure might be on the front end, back end, or APIs of any application, web application, exactly because we are talking about web application. For example, if your inputs are not sanitized or not filtered, this might cause a great problem for you, and you are exposed to different kinds of attacks like cross-site scripting or injecting malicious code that might reveal some very sensitive information. So penetration testing help you to understand what are the vulnerabilities and what are the fine-tune to your web application firewall security policies, and what are the vulnerabilities in your systems that need to be fixed quickly. So now we will talk about the last point in this video. What are the penetration testing 5 stages? Actually, any penetration test pass through these 5 stages, which is planning and reconnaissance, scanning and gaining access, and maintaining access, and analysis. So the first one is planning and reconnaissance. They're defining the and gathering as much information as you can about the target. For example, if we are talking about web penetration testing, you can gather information about the network and different servers found in this network, like the DH3 server, DNS server, mail server, and so on, and the different domain names and subdomains, and etc., to better understand how a target works and what is its potential vulnerabilities, to try to exploit them after that. The second phase, which is scanning, using different tools that is used for scanning for open ports, for example, and what are the versions for the running surfaces and operating system, and so on, because each version has its common and famous vulnerabilities that the penetration tester can use. So we have to scan for all vulnerabilities and open ports and detect what the operating system in this system or web application is used to exploit all the vulnerabilities. After that, after using most tools that are used for scanning, you can gain the access to your system or your target system. Actually, this stage in gaining access, this stage uses web application attacks such as cross-site scripting, try to begin to exploit the vulnerabilities that were found in the last 2 phases or stages, and using cross-site scripting attacks, SQL injections, try to reveal cookies, for example, for all users by using cross-site scripting, change the design of the website, for example, or using SQL injections to reveal sensitive information from the database in the back end, or uploading backdoors to this website to maintain and keep persistent existence on the system as much as you can, to steal as much information as you can. To this stage is very important to gain access, and this is the main purpose of the penetration test, or the penetration actually from the side of hackers, to because you are exploiting all vulnerabilities you have discovered. Testers then try to exploit the vulnerabilities, as I said, and typically by escalating privileges to try to exploit and gain access to many other domains, for example, or if we are talking about the network penetration testing, gaining access to more than one machine to steal more data, as I said. And you can do so by intercepting, for example, the traffic running in the network, and to understand the damage they can cause. Then the fourth one, to try to maintain and keep on this access you have gained, to see if the vulnerabilities can be used to achieve a persistent resistance to exploit the system long enough for bad actors to gain in-depth access and get more sensitive information as you can or not. The idea is to create an advanced persistent threat which remain in a system for months, maybe a very long time, in order to steer organizations' most sensitive data. The fifth and the last stage that penetration test pass through, which is analysis, creating, and this is the most important phase, because the results of the penetration test all detailed specific vulnerabilities that were exploited, and the sensitive data that was accessed, the amount of time that penetration tester was able to remain in the system undetected, are combined into a detailed report to tell the management about what the correction actions that should be taken to fix these vulnerabilities and secure your system enough to be protected against the different type of attacks and have good secure system. I hope that you enjoy this video and got a good understanding of what are the principles of cyber information security and what are the different stages of penetration testing. And any questions are welcomed, and you can contact me on these channels. You can follow my page, and you can send me a direct message on Facebook account, and you can contact me also on WhatsApp, and any questions are welcomed. Thank you.